Didn't believe the wind. Some things never change, it seems. Some things never change, at least not until the morning comes, until the light dawns. You know, these days all of us know about idle tales and fake news. All of us know that you can't take many things that you see on TV or read on Facebook, or I have to admit, hear from the pulpit, literally. The stories of Easter morning are no idle tale. These stories about Christ's resurrection point out to us that most of the time, like the first disciples, most of the time we can't imagine the possibilities of God for our lives and our world. We can't imagine finding joy again after a terrible loss. We can't imagine overcoming addiction in our lives. We can't imagine forgiving that person or being forgiven. We can't imagine that our actions can really make a difference, that earth can be healed, that peace can come, that nonviolence can work, that even our enemies might become our friends. These words seemed to them like an idle tale, and they didn't believe them because until the resurrection, they had not dared to engage in holy imagination. They had not dared to trust in the impossible possibilities of God. Yet more than anything else, that is what faith is. That's what faith is. The ability to imagine some possibility beyond the reality that we have been given. Beyond all the closed-off definitions of our lives and our world that have been dictated to us. Beyond all the fear that entombs our hearts and minds in hopelessness. Easter invites us to envision new possibilities that have never before been considered, to dare to live with holy imagination. So what am I talking about? Here are 3 examples that come to mind for me. In a few days, all across the country, people will remember the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We will remember that terrible day not because of his unjust death. We will remember it because of his life and the message he proclaimed, a gospel message of love and resurrection power. On the night before he was shot, as you know, King gave his famous mountaintop speech, which seemed to anticipate his impending death. And in it, he talked about some of the remarkable things he had experienced on the up and down journey towards civil rights for his people. He said, for example, Bull Connor would say, "Turn the fire hoses on." But Bull Connor didn't know history. He knew a kind of physics that somehow didn't relate to the trans physics that we knew about. And that was the fact that there was a certain kind of fire that no water can put out. So we went out before the fire hoses. We had known water. If we were Baptist or some other denominations, we had already been immersed, so we knew water. If we were Methodist and some others, we'd been sprinkled, so we knew water. That couldn't stop us. We just went on before the dogs and before the water hoses, and we would look at them and we'd just go on singing, "Over my head I see freedom in the air." And then we would be thrown in the paddy wagons, and Bull Connor would say, "Take them away," and they did. And we would just go in the paddy wagon singing, "We shall overcome." And every now and then we'd be in jail, and we'd see the jailers looking through the windows, being moved by our prayers and being moved by our words and our songs. And there was a power there which Bull Connor couldn't adjust to, which he couldn't understand. So we ended up transforming the situation, and we won. We won our struggle in Birmingham. There's a certain kind of fire that no water can put out. There's a certain kind of power that can't be overcome. It is the fire of holy imagination. It is the power of spirit alive in the world.